looks like being tough on crime is now a campaign winner in Democrat cities. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee suffering an embarrassing landslide loss to Democratic State Senator John Whitmire in the race for Houston mayor. Whitmire ran his campaign on making the city safer with increased policing.
Great cities solve their problems. We will make this a safer city. We will do it by recruiting more officers, supporting the officers we have.
What a good idea.
Yeah.
Jackson Lee, on the other hand, ran her campaign on scandal and incompetence. You may remember how wonderfully she treats her staff when leaked audio emerged of her cursing them out.
Both of y'all are assholes. It's the worst I could have ever had put together. Two goddamn children. Idiots. Serve no goddamn purpose. Ain't managing nobody. Nobody's respecting them. Nobody gives a about what you're doing. And you ain't doing.
Yeah. Jackson Lee was also dinged for releasing a television ad that gave supporters the wrong date for the runoff election. You know, Dana, I always find it strange that tough on crime is actually a campaign plank, because you would assume everybody would agree with crime being bad. But the people like Lee made that a campaign plank by being pro-crime.
Think of how many people, especially lately in the media, have been saying that, for example, they'll say that Fox News is making up that people are concerned about crime.
Yeah.
And they're saying, well, shoplifting really isn't that bad, or crime is not that bad. In addition, remember, Houston is also dealing a little bit more than other cities with the front lines of immigration and the problems there. So, you know, you hate to see it, don't you? You hate to see somebody like that lose. But I think you might see a lot more incumbents or incumbent types lose. I don't know whether she decided. She was supposed to decide today. I don't know if anybody heard whether she was going to run for re-election. She has a decision to make for Congress. She didn't have to leave Congress to run for this race. And I do think, though, that this tough on crime issue, the Biden administration, we talk a lot about mortgage rates and food costs, cost of cars, the border as an issue, but crime is an underlying piece. And if people do not feel safe, they will choose different leaders.
Yeah. Judge, there seems to be like an underlying trend here, and it's a good trend. You're seeing with it's the same type of person that is a university president that is much like this, which is like the idea of like tearing down institutions without having things to replace it with, right?
Yes.
Whether it's immigration or crime or identifying genocide.
Yeah, well, you know, the interesting thing about Sheila Jackson Lee is that it was always about her. It was never about the people. And people are suffering from crime, and they know it. And when this guy Whitmire comes in and he says, you know, I'm going to increase the number of police, I'm going to fight crime, I'm going to bring back law and order. He then has the Democrats, the moderate Democrats, the conservatives, the independents, and he won. And Sheila Jackson Lee, you know what her theme was? Her whole thing on her campaign was that she would fight the MAGA extremists. So there you had the ideologue versus a guy who wants to help the individual American or Houstonian. All right? And that's finally people are getting their brains back. And you know what I love? I love that Sheila Jackson Lee, she thought she was a queen. She said, I am the queen. I demand to be. No, it's not about you. And, you know, all of this lunacy with her staff, I mean, she's more worried about how she looks than what she does for the people. And you know what? You know who supported her? And Joe Biden should listen to this. Hillary Clinton was one of her biggest supporters.
There you go.
There you have it.
Harold, she was beaten by a white man.
My colonizer.
There is no question in that. There is no question in that. I just want to point
this race to me is interesting for one reason, and it's to what's been said around the table. Voters respond to the issues that they care about the most. And if you categorize voters or try to put voters in buckets because they're black, because they're white, because they live in a certain neighborhood or they voted certain ways in the past, I think those are indicators and things you might have to look at. But at the end of the day, your point, Greg, being tough on crime, it didn't really hit me until you said it. You've said it before, but who in the world, how in the world could you be against any candidate that wants to be tough on crime? Listening to him, he made clear, Mr. Whitmire said, I want better streets, improved infrastructure, and less crime. He said, I will be judged on public safety in my first year of office, and if I don't improve it, I will be judged poorly. This used to be like an obvious,
Right.
I would use a different word, thing in politics. But for him to say it, I hope my party's listening, and I hope Democrats everywhere are listening. If the two of them were on the same page on choice, so they were both Democrats. So once that issue got not put aside, but once that issue was not a concern, the issue that was on most people's minds was public safety. And he won that battle. Democrats. Dallas mayor, switches parties, Dallas police chief. Dana said it on her earlier show in the day weeks ago. That city's become the city that most people look to when they talk about how do you hire police officers, how do you recruit police officers, how do you keep them morale high. They've done a better job there. If I were Kamala Harris, I'd be traveling to these cities and getting the best practices and bringing them back to Washington and saying, Mr. President, let's do a crime bill at the beginning of the year that incorporates the best practices in crime fighting, keeping police officers, keeping their morale high, recruiting police officers, and most important, making communities safe. Every politician should be interested and committed to doing that.
And to that point, Jesse, I think what we're hitting at here is that it used to be apolitical. Crime was an apolitical issue, but somewhere along the lines, it became a political issue.
Well, it became that way when someone came up with defund the police, which is now going down in history as the dumbest message of all time. And I was disappointed by the election results, Greg. You know, I'm a supporter of Sheila Jackson.
You are. You've always been there for her.
That her staff deserved that dress down.
Yes.
And many staffs deserve dressing down like that. It's a motivator. And also, switching the date of the election was crafty.
Yes.
I think you have to use everything you can. And if your opponent's voters believe the date of the election is the wrong date, then they're idiots and they don't deserve a vote. That's what a sarcastic person would say.
Exactly.
Yes.
Artificial stupid.
But Houston is a oil and gas town. It always will be an oil and gas town. So they may support a Democrat for mayor, but that Democrat's going to be friendly to oil and gas. And she was not friendly to oil and gas. She's a radical ideologue. And talk about law and order. I was just at a police event raising money, and they were giving an award to two guys who closed a 10-year-old sexual assault case. Big old-fashioned police work. They bring the guy in, polygraph him, fails the polygraph, brings him back, takes another polygraph, and then after like 5 hours, they crack him, and he confesses. Who wouldn't want that? If you don't have enough police in the force, you're not going to be able to do that kind of basic legwork like that.
By the way, in my ear, they said Sheila Jackson Lee has refiled. She will run for Congress again.
Oh, thank you.
Houston,
Good.
you are not free of her yet.
She has no skills that are usable in the private sector.
Exactly.
So she's got to stay on the country's dime. All right. Coming up, is blue-collar work now considered a punishment?
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.